Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here with Daily Grind Fantasy, looking at some NBA player props for tonight, locking in some prize picks entries, specifically using NBA player props for our entry. There are a ton of tools you can use to find plays on Daily Grind Fantasy. For this video, I actually am using the DFS middling tool. I like the optimizer. I like the correlation. Fantasy scores is cool too. Correlation tool, I do want to give a quick shout out. They've been tracking every single slip that shows up on the correlation tool since August 18th, up 426 units. Is pretty good. If you look at just the sheer volume of slips you can tail from some awesome NFL games like Cowboys Eagles, like Bills Bengals, to some good college football games like Missouri Georgia, Arkansas Florida, LSU Alabama, Washington USC. There's no shortage of options for these awesome games, but NBA has a nice slate of games tonight, so we're going to be locking in some NBA player props. Again, I found these plays, player props using the DFS middling tool. Ton of ways to skin a cat. I just want to give a shout out to the middling tool, which is a really good one. So in terms of using PrizePicks, there are a couple different educational topics that I want to cover before I get into the individual slip that I have. As you can see, there's a ton of green here. Green equals good. I could probably lock in maybe 4 to 6 different PrizePicks plays just on just using player props from the middling tool. So if you want to hop on and lock in all these, you can. I'm probably going to give out 2, go through one with a little bit of a longer explanation, one really quickly, just to give you guys something to tail. But again, let's start by talking about PrizePicks first. So a couple of things. Number one, when you're playing PrizePicks, the best bang for your buck in terms of number of legs in an entry is going to be 5 and or 6 pick flexes. Either one is going to be good. The reason why, well, let me tell you. So you click this drop down here. It pulls up every single possible option that you can have on PrizePicks, right? 2 pick power, 3 pick flex, all the way to 6 pick flex. And we see in the parentheses here the odds for each type of entry. Well, what these odds are giving you are the implied odds per individual leg. Meaning, if you were to place a 2-leg power on PrizePicks, the payout is essentially you double your money. It's essentially plus 200. Well, each individual leg of a 2-leg parlay that has a payout of plus 200 is minus 136. So in terms of your break-even point, you would need to have your break-even point be basically above minus 136 odds for the true line of your play. That's not that great. Neither is minus 144 or minus 140 or any of these last two. You know what is pretty good? Minus 119. Minus 119 has a win percentage, break-even percentage of about 54 roughly percent. If you can find plays that have a win percentage above 54%, then you will be profitable. So you see if I scroll all the way at the bottom here, the last one we see is 54.34, and it's a different shade of green towards the ones at the top. It's still positive expected value, but you're getting pretty close to your break-even point. Now, a question you are going to ask is, okay, how do you know what percent chance a play has to hit? Well, that's what Daily Grind Fantasy does for you. Calculated literally right here. This play, which is going to be our first leg, Kyle Kuzma, we're going to go over 8.5 rebounds plus assists, has a win percentage of 60.99%. Now you're going to ask, how do I know that the win percentage is 60.99%? It's something that Daily Grind Fantasy, what they do is they take into account a ton of different information, come up with their own proprietary method for pricing odds to a market, basically saying, hey, this is no vig, looking at all the different sports books, looking at all the different correlation and historical data and whatever it may be. We assign the win percentage for this play to be, let's say, minus 200. That's like a 66% win percentage. Then you just convert those odds to a percent and you get this number here. So when you're playing PrizePicks, I mentioned that 5 and 6 pick options has the implied odds of minus 119, right? Well, you're always going to get minus 119 odds regardless of what plays you have. So we could take Kyle Kuzma over 8.5. We could take Kyle Kuzma under 8.5, even though that has a win percentage of below 40%. You're still going to get minus 119 odds. So what you want to do in your strategy for playing these on PrizePicks, you literally just want to maximize your win percentage. The higher win percentage, the better. And you're going to ask, well, isn't that obvious? Doesn't every single play you want to maximize your win percentage? The answer is no, because when you're actually sports betting, you want to find value across the market, right? Fliff is offering this DeMar DeRozan play, which is going to be one of our legs. It's going to be our fourth one at minus 145. That is not good value. Getting something that should be priced at minus 145, priced at minus 119, that is good value. So you don't just want to always maximize your win percentage when you're actually sports betting. You do when you're using the DFS books because the payouts are entirely different. So to recap, PrizePicks strategy, you want to find 5 and 6 pick flex in terms of your number of legs in an entry. And then you want to find plays literally that just have a high percent chance to win. It really is as simple as that. I like to call it the caveman strategy because it's so easy a caveman can understand it. You just want to find plays that are likely to hit. So play number 1, and I mentioned I find these on the middling tool, so I can talk through that. We're taking Kyle Kuzma over 8.5 rebounds plus assist. So this is a middle with number fire that prices him at 9.5. Basically, if he lands at exactly 9, you will cash both. But sometimes when there is a situation where two sports books are so wildly apart that you can middle them, generally one of them is going to be positive expected value in and of itself without even needing to middle it. And that's what we're finding here. So play number 1, as I mentioned, this is Kyle Kuzma 1. Next up, we're taking Jalen Brunson under 5 assists. The reason why this is a play, I mean, look at every other book, because we see all these other sports books price his over-under at 4.5 as opposed to 5, right? So if he lands at exactly 5, people taking the under on these would lost, and obviously we would have gotten this to push. And that half assist, half stat, whatever, is a pretty big deal considering how low these numbers are. You would be surprised at how accurate these sports books can be and where they land at like exactly 5 or exactly 4 assists when their over-under is priced at 4.5. So getting that half assist difference, as I mentioned, is a really big deal. So this is our second play, the Jalen Brunson one. And as I mentioned, I'm going to have 2 PrizePicks entries for you guys to tail. So I'll let you know when one ends and another one begins. Next up, we're taking Steph Curry. You might have heard of him. Decent player. Over 28.5 points. PrizePicks offering this at minus 119. We see number fire. It's a middle with them. Price this at 30.5. That's, again, the lower the numbers get, the bigger the gap between them becomes. But getting a 2-point difference, he can land at 29 or 30, and you can middle both of these is pretty good. As you can tell, DGF calculates this win percentage to be at 57.7%. So we're well above our break-even number. And that's our third play. Fourth up, I did mention this DeMar DeRozan one, over 5 assists. We see every book here prices this at 5.5, this over-under at 5.5. So if you take the over 5.5 and he lands at exactly 5, you will lose all of these, but at least you will have pushed your 5 assists with PrizePicks. And again, it's very similar here, right? Over 5 versus under 5. If he lands at exactly 5, you're pushing these and you're possibly losing the other ones. And again, that half-point difference is massive. This one has a win percentage. This DeMar DeRozan one has a win percentage of 56.79%. Pretty good. And then our fifth, and I'll have this be our final play for this one entry, and then I'll give you 5 more for a second one. So we'll have 2 5-leg entries, 10 player props. That's a lot. We're taking Nikola Jokic, another player who you might have heard of, over 20.5 rebounds plus assists. This is another middle with number fire who has this at 21.5. So if he lands at exactly 21, you will have cashed both. But it's also a scenario where there is a positive expected value play, taking this on PrizePicks and taking him to go over. Jokic, they play the Mavericks. That's going to be a good game. Jokic is incredible. It doesn't need to be a good game for him to be incredible, but it's always nice backing Jokic in a game that majority of people are going to watch because it's a good one. Rounding out our 5th and final pick for this entry. So I'll do a quick recap and then I'll speed through the next one. Kyle Kuzma, over 8.5 rebounds plus assists. Jalen Brunson, under 5 assists. Steph Curry, over 28.5 points. DeMar DeRozan, over 5 assists. Nikola Jokic, over 20.5 rebounds plus assists. That is play number 1. And then play number 2, our second PrizePicks entry. I got 5 for you guys. All of them have a win percentage above this 55% number, which is really good. Some of them, most of them over 55.5. We're going Denny Advia of the Wizards, under 6.5 rebounds. This is another middle where it's priced at 5.5, so he can hit both, but there is value here on Denny Advia just straight up under 6.5. We're taking another rebound prop, DeAndre Ayton, over 10.5 rebounds. This has a win percentage of 56.28%. Another middle here with number fire at 11.5. So you could get both if he lands at exactly 11. That's our second play. Another play for the Wizards, Kyle Kuzma, under 30.5 points, rebounds, assists. If you can't combine that with Denny Advia, then we can skip this one. Then we have Josh Giddey, over 14.5 rebounds plus assists, 56% win percentage. Another middle with number fire. If he lands at exactly 15, you're cashing both, but there's value on the over 15.5. So we'll count this as our third leg because the Kuzma one, some people might not be able to lock that in. Then we have Giannis, another player you might have heard of, good player, over 10.5 rebounds, 55.6% win percentage. That is play number 4. Fifth and final pick, Desmond Bane, over 8.5 rebounds plus assists. This one is a middle with that looks like underdog. They have it at 9. We are getting it at 8.5. If he lands at exactly 9, that will push. We will cash. So 5 more player props for you guys to hammer. 2 PrizePicks entries for you guys. 10 player props total. Hopefully we can get one of these to cash. If so, we will 20x our money. Let's hope for that. And that's it. So appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And have a good one.